The coronation ceremony of Alhaji Nasiru Ado Bayero as the second Emir of Bichi after his brother Aminu Ado Bayero served as the Emir following the creation of 4 additional emirates by the governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje. To a large extent, we've been talking about how significant this event is to the region. And of course, we're following events regarding that and others as well. You know, you have in Delta State the Olu of Warriors coronation well, which is also ongoing. And of course, you know, we also had the marriage ceremony just yesterday of the Emir's daughter
and the president's
to the president's son as well. So it's a gambit of how would you call it? Ceremonies within 2-3 days.
It has been quite an eventful weekend, indeed. I have to say.
Indeed.
Yeah, so it's been quite a number of ceremonies, the coronations in particular, you know, so 2 of them on the same day. It's unbelievable. And then especially with regards to what's taking place in Kano, how they're interlinked and how they're interwoven, especially with the people involved, you know, the father to the daughter of the lady that got married to the president's son.
And of course, we're talking about the essence of culture here. You know, normally you don't find, yes, you find marriage ceremonies, as it were, coronations and stuff like that, but you know, it brings out that historical norms that people are not properly, you know, too in tune with.
Absolutely,
you know, when it comes to historical norms, historical culture.
And it makes us appreciate that more, if not us, even the indigents there and people across the globe generally speaking.
So to a large extent, you know, it's quite significant.
It is quite
regarding
significant.
The geopolitics of the region so far.
But let me ask you, not having the wedding yesterday, do you think that might have had an impact on how today's ceremony would have gone? Because I have a feeling that most of the people that were in yesterday's ceremonies, you know, would have used the opportunity as well for today's coronation event.
To a large extent, I think, you know, when you have events like this, as we've seen over time, there is that essence of people tending to tune in because of, you know, it happens once in a long while. It's not something that happens often. So to a large extent, people will tune into that and, of course, will grace the event and, of course, try to highlight the essence of or the significance of that ceremony, irrespective of what we had yesterday and what we're having currently now.
Yeah, it would be sort of interesting to sort of see the major players at today's coronation ceremony for the Emir of Bichi, to hear what they've got to say regarding the coronation. From what we saw earlier, quite a number of ministers available there. Yeah. I'm not sure what the situation is with.
All right. Okay, while we're holding on to that, we have Christian Ogodo, Arise Managing Editor, is here with us to give us more insight on the Emir of Bichi's coronation. Christian, it's good to have you with us. What more can you tell us where you are at the moment? We seem to be having some communication issues there with Christian, who is covering it. Hopefully we'll get that before the end of the bulletin as it continues. Of course, we are live covering the Emir of Bichi's coronation, and of course there's been prayers have been held, and we've seen several days, you know. Okay, we seem to have
handing over of the staff of office to the Emir of Bichi. You can hear the cannon shots at the background. I'm sure our other cameras can pick that, and we'll go. Yeah. The ceremony has started in earnest, and in a few moments we're going to see the presentation of the staff of office to the Emir of Bichi. He's going to be the second Emir, a genealogical lineage that spans between the Kano Emirate and the Ilorin Emirate from the maternal side. But I just want to quickly tell you, if you can see behind me here, we've got a galaxy, an array of dignitaries, of traditional rulers from across the country. To my extreme left, or if you want to take it from my extreme right, is the Sultan of Sokoto, and you have the brother Emir to Nasri Ado Bayero, that is being crowned today. That's talking about the Emir of Kano. And of course, you have other emirs from Jigawa, from Zamfara. And to my left here is the patriarch of the Dantata family, putting on an all-white agbada with a mixture of ox blood and white cap. He's got his face mask on. That's Aminu Dantata, the patriarch of the Dantata dynasty in Kano and in Nigeria. And you have other dignitaries too, like I said. You have, for example, the Obi of Agbo, who is here. That's the Dane of Agbo, who is here, and along with other several dignitaries and the rest. So we have quite a number of people here. At the other canopies which we've shown earlier, you have a lot of traditional rulers there as well, and other eminent dignitaries from the business world, from the political divide. Don't forget that we have governors from Niger State, from Kano State, the host governor, Abdullahi Ganduje, who is also here, as well as the governor of Kogi State. We have the governor from other states. Like I said, they are so numerous to mention. And the representative of His Excellency, the President of Nigeria, is Chief of Staff, Professor Gambari, who is representing Mr. President here. So we are seeing the momentum building up, gradually coming, like you can see on your screen, that the Emir is being turbaned and hooded, like you can hear from the public speaker there, the master of ceremony. Yes. And the ceremony is moving on very peacefully, colorfully. We had the mini Durbar earlier. I'm sure we had captured that. So over to you in the studios.
All right then, Christian, thanks for giving us that update. Apart from the presentation of the staff of office, what more can we look forward to with regards to this coronation taking place? What's in the pipeline for today? Christian, if you can hear me, I was asking regarding...
It's so noisy here. I am really struggling to hear you guys very clearly. But if there is a little history to talk about the...
Get his reign ushered in formally, officially by the Kano State government.
Yeah, I didn't quite get that, but if there is a little history... You know, to talk about the Bichi Emirate is one of the oldest emirates in Kano State. Only until about 2 or 3 years ago, the governor of Kano State severed this emirate from the Kano Emirates, creating 5 emirates from the old Kano Emirates and the rest. And this is one of the emirates so created then. And today we are seeing the formal presentation of staff, coronation ceremony of Alhaji Nasir Ado Ibrahim, who is the Emir of Bichi and the second Emir for that matter. And that's why you can say how colorful the entire environment is, how people have come out in their thousands. There are several thousands more outside the Bichi Township Stadium, venue of this ceremony. And it is really bubbling with various activities. But the main show a show that started in the last 4 or 5 days is now finally coming to a climax with the turbaning and the handing over of the staff of office to His Royal Highness the Emir of Bichi, Nasser Ado Bayero.
Interesting development, Christian. And of course, we're witnessing just a while ago, Governor Ganduje handing over the staff of office to the newly installed Emir of Bichi. Governors then also taking photo shoots with him. And of course, like you said, Christian, it's a long line of activities climaxing at this moment. But after the office of the staff of office has been handed over, what is expected of the Emir in terms of service to his people?
Come and see if they've cut me off.
Welcome also.
Christian, if you can hear me, so what should we expect beyond the staff of office being given to the newly installed Emir of Bichi, Alhaji Nasiru Ado Bayero?
By the time they connect it, they pass you to the studio.
Also here to Perdonan Reno Alhaji.
All right, obviously Christian is still covering, as it were, but we're still having some communication issues there. But we are still live in Bichi, Kano State. And of course, the official coronation ceremony of Alhaji Nasiru Ado Bayero, the second Emir of Bichi, after his brother Aminu Ado Bayero served as Emir following the creation of 4 additional emirates by Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje. And of course, Alhaji Ado Bayero is now the Emir of Kano, ascending the throne after the state government dethroned Emir Muhammad Sanusi II. That was like a year or 2 ago, I believe. A colorful event, just like Christian Ogodo pointed out earlier. And earlier on, we can see an array of governors coming in and to take photo with the newly installed
and
Emir
also
of
congratulate
Bichi.
him.
Congratulating him as well. And of course, colorful event. I haven't seen regalia such as this in a long while. It's only once in a while you see, all this historical, the richness of the culture coming out every now and then, but not as what we would have here. But very significant event.
Absolutely.
And, a lot of dignitaries gracing it. The Governor Ganduje, of course, with the newly installed Emir, and of course, this looks like the palace staff as well, also having photo moments with the newly installed Emir of Bichi there.
Absolutely, and it's quite interesting that the staff staff of office has been passed on to him. It was quite a historic moment indeed, and we can see him holding on to that staff and heading away from that particular area.
That is a symbol of office, as it were.
Yes.
You talked about, several days, like 5 days of
preparations. I wanted to ask him a little bit more about that, but unfortunately our connection...
Yeah, and hopefully we'll get him to talk more on that. But this is the culmination of all those preparations we're actually seeing into play here. So, all in all, it could be termed as quite successful, as it were.
Yes, from what we've seen so far, there's not been that. I don't know if there's any mishap whatsoever. We've not seen any kind of incidents happen as well. From what we've seen, it's been peaceful. And everything has been done accordingly. If anything, probably just a slight delay.
Indeed.
There were prayers and there was the national anthem. And
of course, with the passing of any new leadership, whether cultural or what we have in terms of the modern day governance, there's that burden of responsibility that is passed on to you. And the realization happens when you start getting, all the, in terms of the office, the paraphernalia, and the things you have to do on a day-to-day basis. And of course, this sets you in the mood, regarding what you have to do or what is expected of you as a leader.
But I think he's equal to the task in the sense that it's been in his family for some time. It's the Adebayo family, and they've been emirs for a long period of time.
Indeed, Tokubo. He's about making a speech. I don't know if we can listen on that, but get a feel of what the new emir is trying to say.
Girma gwamna na jihar Kano tare da sauran gwamnoni da suka rufo masa baya, wakilin shugaban kasa kuma baffana da sauran waɗanda suka rufo masa baya, ya alfarma sarkin musulmi, ɗan uwana sarkin Kano da manya-manyan sarakuna, Shehun Borno.
All right, you're still on to the, we're looking at the Emir of Bichi coronation, and of course Alhaji Nasiru Adobayero has been handed the staff of office moments ago. He is now the newly installed. That signifies his office, the symbol of his office officially. And he's making a speech. Of course, it's in Hausa, but we will get details of that in a moment. It's yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I hope he does make one in English.
Definitely, because the press will be itching to get some response from him, and of course, that's obviously going to happen as the coronation proceeds.
But ultimately, he's got the staff of office at the moment, and that's what's key in this coronation ceremony.
Of course, I'm sure he's laying out his expectations of what is probably, of course, appreciations for all that has been done and for him to get to where he is at the moment. You can't help but think that, look, the issue of that continuity when it comes to secession, or secession rather, when it comes to people ascending the throne, it's been followed through over time for centuries, and there hasn't actually been a break, in that tradition. That's one of the things that are quite intriguing. Yes, you might have families that are, next in line to the throne, but there's always that orderliness if there are any setbacks, and you tend to think that, look, some historians are actually getting their dues in terms of getting things right.
Yes, yes. But I don't think I can say the same for what's happening with the Wari situation. There was a bit of a kerfuffle before. Eventually, there was a bit of a controversy before he was finally appointed as the delegate, the Olu delegate. But today, as we saw earlier on,
that's exactly what I'm trying to highlight there. Because look, there might be setbacks in terms of the ascension of some of this, the next in line, but tradition still holds. It overcomes, regardless of what might be on ground, that might
regardless of any controversies or any kind of little setbacks, as you mentioned.
So we disagree to agree, as it were.
It's still the Emir of Bichi coronation taking place at the stadium, the Bichi Township Stadium there in the local government area, and quite a number of dignitaries that we saw earlier on, and quite a bit of an attendance as well, I must say, because earlier on when they did pan around, there was quite a multitude of people.
And I'm glad, we live right now in very troubled times in terms of the pandemic. We can see there quite a number of individuals have their masks on, and which says, look, people are still aware of the fact that despite the significance of this event, they still need to be in tune with health protocols, as it were, and it's good to see that. Although it could be argued in terms of spacing
And the 6-meter rule, or the but you know, in certain I mean, in circumstances such as this, it's really difficult to sort of keep up and keep to the COVID-19 protocols. But at least some of them have a mask, so that's a good thing in itself. And when I look into the background of the screen, you know, of what we're seeing at the moment, I can see deep into the distance there some of those horses, and it reminds me of, you know, the Durbar that we missed earlier.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I was
like
actually looking forward to that. You know, horses riding. You know, as we spoke, as we're highlighting that it happened. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get that, but that was one of the highlights of the events. And it's like laying allegiance to the new Emir.
But I'm sure hopefully we'll get to, before the ceremony concludes, we'll get to see a little bit of it more as processions continue and carry on later on. It's just such a shame that we didn't get a chance to actually see the mini Durbar in full swing as it was unfolding, as we were covering the Olu of Warri coronation. But not to worry, I'm sure with developments taking place, we'll be able to sort of bring more info and more developments regarding how this plays out eventually.
Indeed. And for those of our viewers just joining us, you're watching the historical coronation ceremony of Alhaji Nasiru Ado Bayero. He is the one currently making a speech right there on your screen. He is the second Emir of Bichi after his brother Aminu Ado Bayero served as Emir following the creation of 4 additional emirates by the governor of that state, Abdullahi Umar Ganduje. And of course, Alhaji Ado Bayero is now the Emir of Kano. That's his brother, ascending the throne after the state government dethroned Emir Muhammadu Sanusi II. Of course, Bichi local government is in the center of attention right now, and of course we've got live coverage ever since we've started. He's been handed over the official staff, symbolizing the start of his his position as Emir of Bichi. And of course, it's a very important aspect of this coronation to a large extent.
Absolutely. You know, earlier on we were talking about, you know, how he's going to do in his new role, and I was saying that, you know, he comes from a family of people that have been emirs. His brother, I think his dad as well. So I think he's used to what they.
Yeah, it will come natural. That essence of leadership, as you've noted, the family itself has been. You know,
the Emirate Council for a period of time.
Indeed, but of course he would like also to do more
and do
regarding his individual self. Yeah. Of course, working within the ambits of the culture as well, the Emirate, and of course what is expected of him as the new Emir. And of course, he would also like to make an impact in terms of his current tenure. Of course, might be to do more than his predecessors, as it were.
I really do hope that, you know, he does well, not just for the people of Kano, but also the people of Bichi in particular, where he'll be the Emir for a period of time at least. So hopefully that plays out positively.
Indeed, he's got the paraphernalia of office right now, and of course he will be getting assistance from the state government. We've noted that in terms of tradition, culture, when it comes to emirs in the region, not only Kano, there's that heightened sense of responsibility, of coordination, of collaboration with the state government, especially an impacting on the emirate and of course the people of the region as well.
But it's actually interesting that you mentioned that, because obviously he does have the support of the state governor at the moment, so that in itself is a plus. Hopefully that will work out to the good of not just Bichi but the state as well.
You know, earlier on we were talking about the burden of responsibility that's been, despite the fact that you've come from a line of family that has been involved in the Emirate, of course. Of course, Arise Managing Editor Christian Ogodo is still standing by to give us more update on that. Christian, it's good to have you back again. Hopefully you can hear me now. So what more can you tell us? This is a historical, cultural significance. Give us more on the essence of this event.
acknowledge and express gratitude to the multitude of people who have come, particularly from the presidency and their Royal Highnesses, including His Eminence the Sultan of Sokoto and the Sheikh of Borno and other Royal Highnesses.
All right, that was Christian Okoto. Of course, we have some audio issues, but Tukumbo, hopefully we'll get him back as we, stay on this. And of course, in other news, the bride of Yusuf Buhari, Zara Buhari, in the airport on her way to Abuja to her new home after a brief stopover at her paternal home, the palace of the Emir of Kano. She is accompanied to Abuja by her aunties, grandmothers, and chiefs from both Emirates of Kano and Bichi. And of course, we're looking at visuals to that effect. It's quite a gambit of events within a short period, and I'm sure this took people by storm because a whole lot of people weren't actually expecting to have this many events rolled within a day or 2
days, yes.
And we're seeing such a lot of culture in display, as it were. And of course, it gladdens the hearts of the president, no doubt. Your son is has ascended another new level of responsibility, not only that, but also from a royal family as well.
Absolutely. So I'm sure he'll be definitely be delighted that his son has made the right choice.
And of course, great expectations from him as well.
Yes.
Based on that at the back of his mind, as it were. Of course,
it was a bit of a ceremony yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was earlier. We tried to get Christian there, but hopefully we'll get him back. Yeah, it was quite a colourful event as well.
It was.
On the president's son, of course, Zara as well, and also the union of two important families. Hopefully, they will also make something good of that union. There's so much expectations from them as well. Of course, it also holds a cultural significance in that regard.
Absolutely. Earlier on, Christian was saying that, it took about 5 days to have this, the coronation of the Emir of Bichi. I was beginning to wonder how long it took for them to have the wedding yesterday, because from what the reports that I heard, was that it had a 145-man committee that coordinated.
My goodness, that is quite a lot.
That is quite a lot. So I'm like, well, it's a presidential sort of wedding.
So much input from so many people, but at the end of the day, the success was highlighted. There were no major challenges, as we saw, hitches whatsoever, but it was quite successful. So maybe to a large extent, it could have been worthwhile having that many people give their input.
As they say that too many cooks spoil the broth. I don't think in this case that was well.
All right, okay. Speech there by one of the officials. Let's just listen.
The first Alase Lori Osija for coming to this level. Esteemed and distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is now my honor and privilege to call upon His Excellency, the Governor of Kano State, Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, Hadim al-Islam, to give his coronation address on this occasion. Before then, the Sultan of Sokoto is supposed to say a couple of words before His Excellency, the Governor, speaks. The Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Saad Abu Bakr Zassad, CMR MNI, will now take the floor and deliver an address before we go to the address by His Excellency, the Governor, Dr. Abdullahi Umar Gandhi. Allah ya taimaki sarki musulmi, Allah ya kara mai alfarma sarki musulmi daraja, Allah ya tabbatar da alhairi. Muna sauraron sa albarka da za a yi a wannan wuri don saboda wannan babban al'amari da aka yi. Alfarma sarkin musulmi.
Because I'm about 30, 40 meters away from
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وصلى الله على النبي الكريم wakilin shugaban kasa gwamnan jihar Kano da sauran gwamnoni ministoci da 'yan majalisa manya-manyan sarakuna assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A yau muna cike da farin ciki da godiya ga Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mai kowa mai komi da ya kaddama cikin bayinsa da suka halarci wannan gagarumin taro domin ba dan uwanmu abokinmu kuma abokin aiki sarkin Bichi sanda ta shugabancin wannan gari mai albarka. Muna cike da godiya ga Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala da ya kawo mu lafiya, ya kawo yan uwan da lafiya da garuruwa daban-daban domin halartar wannan taro. Muna ƙara kira ga yan uwanmu sarakuna mu ci gaba da ƙoƙari taimaka ma gwamnatocinmu domin sakar da nauyi na shugabancin al'umma. Muna ƙara kira ga sarkin Bichi cewa yau ba Allah zuwa ta'ala ya ƙara masa wani nauyi na shugabanci. Wannan nauyin da Allah ya bashi zai sa shi ne sanadin shiga shi aljanna ko kuma wuta, amma Allah ya kiyaye mu baki daya da wuta. Duk shugabancin da Allah ya bamu, Allah ya samu sauke shi lafiya ya zan shi ne sanadin shiga mu aljanna su dausi dukkan mu ba tare da hisabi ba. Muna ƙara godiya ga gwamnan jihar Kano da wannan wani da aka yi na ƙara faɗaɗa wuraren shugabanci na al'umma wato masarautoci domin taimaka ma al'umma domin sauke nauyin al'umma. Yadda kowa ya zo nan lafiya, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bai da kowa gida lafiya. Muna ƙara godiya ga shugaban ƙasa wanda wakilinsa dan uwanmu ne kuma amininmu.
All right, you're still watching the coverage, live coverage of the Emir of Bichi coronation. He's been handed over the staff of office so far, which symbolizes his official beginning of his position. And of course, dignitaries making speeches in that regard, giving their well wishes and thanks on this occasion. Tukubo.
Yes, it's been quite a day actually. From what we've seen the staff of office presented to him by the governor of Kano State, Ganduje. We saw that earlier on, and we saw afterwards quite a number of the dignitaries that were present take photos with him, basically, and also extend their congratulations to the Emir, the new Emir of Bichi, I should say, of Bichi.
And we've seen over time when we have events like this, you have even beyond the north, beyond the Emirates of the north, where there are cultural, installation of newly installed obas or leadership, members of the royal family, there's always that synergy, that collaboration beyond that particular region. It says a lot about that continuity and that harmony, irrespective of cultural differences in Nigeria.
Absolutely.
But there's always that collaboration, that sense of brotherhood.
Absolutely.
When you find the dignitaries, gracing such events.
Occasions, because earlier on when we were bringing the live coverage of what was taking place in Warri, we saw a number of dignitaries as well who came from far and wide. So that was very encouraging. And even here, we've seen governors and ministers and so many other people grace today's occasion as well regarding the coronation for the Emir of Bichi. So like you say, it's very encouraging. It's very supportive that they're doing that. And as I say, I think the exact word is just encouragement and encouraging.
Yeah, and to a large extent, when you see that, irrespective of our daily differences, challenges, but when it comes to this level of culture, that sometimes is often relegated, and we're not seeing much of it in terms of national discourse. But at moments like this, when you see that, it's, as you say, encouraging. It brings a sense of hope.
It does bring a sense of hope. And have you noticed by any chance that things have actually calmed down in terms of, events happening all over the country, the negative news
the
that we
negative
usually
news
hear.
we've been having, but when it comes to incidents like this, scenarios like this, there's a palpable calm.
Yes.
Palpable calm, and it's this is the
It
attention.
resonates.
It resonates. You're right, and hopefully, I was hoping that could
extend for a longer period of time in terms of the effect.
In terms of the
impact.
effects, as it were. So.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you?
Okay, all right. So we're still on the coronation. Still on the coronation of
the Emir of Bichi.
Emir of Bichi. He is the second Emir after his brother Aminu Ado Bayero served as Emir following the creation of 4 additional emirates by Governor Abdullahi Umar, and of course Ganduje. And of course we witnessed the official staff being handed over to the Emir moments ago, which symbolizes the staff of office and the beginning of his tenure. So much expectations on the part of, not only on the part of his people, but also well-wishers as well. And I'm sure he's got his work cut out for him. And of course, we were discussing the issue about is coming from a long line of emirs. So this might not be too new to him, but of course, he would want to impact positively on an individual level beyond what his predecessor
exactly.
might have
and the onus
done.
is now on him at the moment for him to sort of do what he needs to do as the Emir of Bichi.
So much. All right, we have our Rise managing editor. Christian Ogodo. He's standing by. Christian, please give us the significance of this event, if you can hear me. Thank you.
Very well, Oye Lawa. It's very important, that the Emirate system in northern Nigeria is a formidable traditional institution, which before colonialism was, directly the form of government in northern Nigeria. And one unique thing about the Emirate system is when you look at the Emirate itself, you have the administrative instruments or institutions built around each emirate. In Bichi here, for example, you have the Bichi prisons, you have the treasury, you have the divisional police headquarters right around the palace of the emir. But the significance of this event is that the people are today again have gotten a new traditional leadership in the person of the Emir of Bichi, who, like we said earlier, is the second Emir to be so turbaned. And it's a beginning of a new chapter in
All right,
our
then,
society.
Christian. The governor is speaking at the moment, so we'll come back to you shortly, but let's listen into what the governor has to say.
Are you still with me? Well, let's see.
The Sultan of Mohammed Saad Abu Bakr III, Your Royal Highness, the Emir of Kano, and Chairman,
Kano State Council of Emirs, Alhaji Aminu Ado Bayero, the celebrant, the Emir of Bichi, Alhaji Nasiru Ado Bayero, the junior brother to the Emir of Kano, Your Highnesses and Magistrates of us and others who are here with us.
Let me use, I'm sure it's going to take.
Ladies and gentlemen, peace be upon you all. I am so overjoyed to take part in another historic event for the coronation of another first-class Emir in Kano State in the person of Alhaji Nasiru Ado Bayero, the second Emir of Bichi Emirate Council. First of all, I want to begin by welcoming you all, especially our guests who came from far distance to witness this momentous occasion. We are grateful for this show of friendship and for honoring our invitation. Distinguished guests, one hardly finds opportunity to witness events of this nature in a lifetime. For instance, persons who were born in the late 70s and early 80s in Kano State have not witnessed coronation of a first-class Emir until 2014. That is after about 4 decades when His Highness the Emir of Kano, late Alhaji Ado Bayero of blessed memory, passed away. Ladies and gentlemen, I quoted this period because there were coronation ceremonies that took place in old Kano State for the emirs of the then Gaya, Rano, in present Kano State, as well as Dutse and the Auyo Emirates, now in Jigawa State. The Emirates were short-lived after being abrogated by the Sabo Bakinzo-led administration. Now God has willed that in our life we witnessed 3 coronations of emirs within a span of 2 months. If you could recall, in June 19th and 3rd July 2021, the emirs of Rano and Kano Emirate Councils, respectively, were presented with the type of office in particular ceremonies held in their respective domains. Today, we also gather to give a stamp of office to the second Emir of Bichi Emirate Council, Alhaji Nasiru Ado Bayero, the son of the 13th Fulani Emir of Kano, the late Alhaji Ado Bayero, who ruled Kano for over 50 years and to date remains the longest serving Emir in the history of Kano State. Distinguished guests, His Highness the Emir of Bichi is a distinguished technocrat, a banker par excellence, and successful entrepreneur. Prior to his appointment as the Emir of Bichi, he served as district head of Nasarawa and Taroni local government councils. He even held the titles of Turaki and the Churoma of Kano. Selecting him to serve as Bichi Emir, therefore, is apt, considering his royal pedigree and extraordinary leadership qualities. Ladies and gentlemen, I am optimistic that Bichi Emirate will experience extensive transformation under the stewardship of His Highness Alhaji Nasiru Ado Bayero. The good effort he is making towards promoting the well-being of his subjects is acknowledged, and our administration will do all what it takes to ensure that these good objectives of the Bichi people are being realized. Our esteemed guests, Kano State Government, appreciates the tremendous contributions of traditional institutions in promoting peace and harmonious coexistence among the peoples of the state. The creation of the 4 additional emirates, which Emirate Council inclusive, has demonstrated our practical commitment to the promotion of the conviction that through the new emirates, development projects embarked upon by our administration could easily spread evenly and down to the grassroots. At this point, I would like to call on Your Highness to use your noble position to promote peace and unity in your emirate and the state in general. I believe with your royalty and experience in banking and community leadership, you will offer inspired leadership for the people of Bichi Emirate and beyond, inshallah. Your Highness, my usual call for emirs at this kind of occasion is that they should endeavor to avoid habits that will tarnish their esteemed image. I therefore appeal to Your Highness to remain the father of all in Bichi Emirate and Kano and beyond, and to also assure all the emirs in the state that this administration will continue in its efforts to transform and reposition traditional institutions in Kano State. I also want to solicit your continuous support and the cooperation to our government to be able to provide more democratic dividends to the good people of Kano State. At this juncture, I want to appreciate all members of the Coronation Committee for their expressed commitment and other well-meaning individuals who work day and night to ensure the success of this coronation. I'm certain that our names will be written in gold as people who transformed and rewrote the history of traditional institutions in Kano State. Lastly, I pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to uphold and strengthen His Highness and grant him wisdom, good health, and required resources for a successful reign. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the most possible, I present the staff of office and symbol of authority to His Highness, the second Emir of Bichi Emirate, Alhaji Nasiru Ado Bayero. Thank you and God bless. Mun gode. To jama'a assalamu alaikum. Saboda wanda ba su ji harshen turanci ba, zan fassara a takaice da Hausa, watakila ma idan kun ci sa'a kun fassara da Fulatanci. To jama'a.
And if you're just joining us, this is a Rise News special coverage of the coronation of Emir of Bichi. And of course, moments there, we saw Governor Ganduji, Kano State Governor there, giving a speech in English before he went on to say more in Hausa, which he's saying currently. And of course, the governor thanked delegates for honoring their invitation regarding this occasion, and he talks about the coronation of a first-class monarch, which earlier on we were discussing, the significance of these events, Alhaji Nasiru Ado Bayero. And of course, he also mentioned coronations in other emirates within a short space of time.
2 months to be precise.
2 months to be precise.
3 in 2 months.
So they have been busy regarding scenarios such as this. And of course, he prayed for the wisdom and good health for a successful reign. All wrapped up in that speech. And of course, he is also asking for support from the emirate and of course the people of that region.
Because he talked about supporting democratic rules from the people and by them as well. And one of the things that he said was that, that their names will be written in gold for all of the things that they've done within the past 2 months, should I say, especially in creating the Emirates.
So a lot of planning, a lot of preparations, culminating into, I think this is the main event, apart from the coronations we've had within that 2 months space of time.
And I have a feeling that, yesterday's event also impacted on this.
Yeah, definitely. You can't argue the richness of this event, but the way it came about actually took people to a large extent maybe by surprise as to the amount of activities within this gambit of events, the coronation, the marriage, the president's son.
And we have to say, even though it looks very easy, I think a lot of planning has gone into it.
Went into it, definitely. Just to have a sense of who the newly installed Emir of Bichi is, Alhaji Nasiru Ado Bayero was born February 2nd, 1964. He is the third son of the late Emir of Kano, Alhaji Ado Abdullahi Bayero, and the first child to be born at the official residence of Kano Emirate House known as Gidan Dabo. He is said to be a unifier of culture and religious divides, as well as an accomplished entrepreneur, we gather. And of course, earlier on we were talking about the issue of culture, and here we see religious divides. So to a large extent, I guess he is, flexible in terms of his relationship with other cultures, other people of different religious backgrounds as well, which to a large extent is also expected of an emir.
Because you know what, like it says, unifier. So hopefully it unites the different cultures, the different religious divides, and like the governor was saying, that hopefully peace should reign, in his tenure. Let's hope that's what he does as the new emir of the local government area, Bichi.
And of course, to a large extent, that essence, unifier, he may have also gotten that from his predecessors, that lineage of being taught, to be flexible with other religions.
Yes. That's why I was saying that he's already in the fold. He already knows what to do. He knows his expectations, and he knows what's expected of him. So I think it's a natural succession for him to fall into this role, because he will know exactly what needs to be done. Let's hope he does do it eventually, and let's hope peace reigns in Bichi and Kano.
Indeed, it's a continuum, and hopefully to do more. That is the expectation here. It's quite interesting.
And the governor, they talk about their father, who he said was the longest serving emir. I think he ruled for a long period of time. I'm hoping.
For Kano.
Yes, for Kano, yes. But the thing is, whether for Kano or for a local government area, being an emir, I think in itself a good stead. And if they can do it for a long period of time, it does speak well of how well you're ruling. And just joining us once again is the Arise managing editor, Christian Ogodo, joining us once again. Christian, can you bring us up to speed regarding the what's going on at the moment, especially with regards to the governor? We did hear his speech earlier on. What would you say are the key takeaways from that speech?
To jama'a muna gode wa duk wanda ya halarci wannan taro, muna gode maku, kuma Allah ya mai da kowa gidansa lafiya.
Let me ask Christian that question again. Christian, I was asking, what the key highlights will be from that speech. If you can hear me, we would like to sort of get your thoughts. Christian Ogodo, the Arise managing editor, we're trying to reach him and connect as soon as we can. I'm not sure if we have him at the moment, so I think we should carry on.
Hopefully we'll get Christian Ogodo on that. Like we've been saying so far, we talked about the cultural significance of this. We talked about the flexibility of the emir, or that expectation from him. Earlier on, we talked about the issue of being a unifier of religious and cultural norms in the region. And of course, the governor has just wrapped up his speech in Hausa. Earlier on, he spoke in English, and more or less praising and also thanking people and of course the delegates, of course, gracing the event, and of course wishing him well as he begins his tenure.
Yes, it did wish him well indeed, especially with regards to his health and his reign. Like I said, it remains to be seen what he will do going forward from here on in.
We can still see, what looks like, palace guards on horsebacks, lining the event. And of course, they will be the ones also involved in the mini Durbar,
that we
they're
missed.
always kind of colorfully dressed. See the decorations on those horses, and of course,
and
the riders
it's interesting
themselves.
that how colorful they are is what actually makes part of the culture and part of the richness of that particular culture. Because like I was saying earlier on, we did see some scenes from the Olu of Warrior and the coronation taking place, and how that was rich as well in terms of what they were doing. Each area doing theirs in a different way, yet in a significant way, yet in a culturally significant way as well. So it's really, really quite interesting that we have people from the north and south doing the same thing, but using different methods.
And this would have been the way they dressed in the old days.
Absolutely.
There's that continuity rather of what we're seeing right now. So not much has changed in terms of their attires, the way the horses are ordained,
The turbans,
and everything, and it speaks of consistency in terms of
history, culture.
That's true. Of course, more dignitaries are coming in. We're still at the coronation of the Emir of Bichi in Kano State. We are live at that event. It's currently going on. Earlier on, we saw the staff of office being handed over to the new Emir, and much expectation here as it begins his tenure. Of course, we have more speakers at that event, if we can listen in on that.
Members of the federal government delegation, including the Minister of Water Resources, Alhaji Suleiman Adamu, the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, Alhaji Sani Nanono, the Honorable Minister of Defense, Governor Bashir Magashi, the Honorable Minister of Aviation, Malam Mahadi Sirika, Madam Graba Shehu, Secretary General of OPEC, Mohammed Bakindo, traditional rulers, His Eminence the Sultan of Sokoto, my Maritaba Azad Abubakar III, the Shehu of Bonu, His Royal Highness the Emir of Kano, Honorable Alhaji Aminu Bayero, former governors, Rochas Okorocha, business leaders represented such as from Alhaji Mohammed Indimi, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, Alhaji Rabiu, Alhaji Aminu Dantata, members of the diplomatic corps, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, members of the National Assembly, distinguished Senator Jibril Barau.
Okay.
We've been asked by His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari to lead a delegation of the federal government to participate in this very important occasion. With gratitude to Almighty Allah, we gathered here today, therefore, on the 21st of August in this wonderful town of Bichi to celebrate the coronation of His Royal Highness Alhaji Nasiru Ado Bayero as the second Emir of Bichi. On behalf of the President, therefore, and the government of Nigeria, I wish to congratulate the people and entire Emirate of Bichi on this historic occasion. For me personally, it is a homecoming, a pleasure and an honor to be here in person to facilitate with His Royal Highness the Emir of Bichi, Alhaji Nasiru Ado Bayero, and to reaffirm the affinity of the Emirate from which I come and to which I have born, the Ilorin Emirate in Kwara State. The transformation of Kano from two ancient emirates, the other being Rano, to five, Kano, Rano, Gaya, Kayaraye, and Bichi in 2019 is a significant development in the political evolution of traditional institutions in Kano State. Because whose legitimacy is based in part on the association
with customary modes of governing a community. There are several advantages that come from a greater sense of cultural preservation. For territories hitherto neglected and attention concentrated in one place now suddenly become more open. Indeed, the epithet of Bichi, Kanwa Kano, Bichi, the junior sister to Kano, enjoys the historical antecedent that saw 3 emirs of Kano taking up their positions from Bichi. This included His Royal Highness Abdullah Bayero, His Royal Highness Muhammad Sanusi, and His Royal Highness Aminu Ado Bayero. This merely reaffirmed the status of Bichi as an enabler of quality and distinction in traditional leadership. Furthermore, new title holders within Kano State now possess sense of ownership and responsibility, including the development of this emirate to stimulate local commerce and industry. Because His Royal Highness, the new Emir of Bichi, is a master in promoting commerce and industry and developing the opportunities for the people to enjoy a better life for all concerned. On this note, therefore, the delegation of the federal government of Nigeria sent by His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari felicitates with the entire Emirate of Bichi and particularly His Royal Highness Alhaji Nasiru Ado Bayero, Sarkin Bichi, Nabiu, as well as His Excellency the Executive Governor of Kano State, Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, for this wonderful, historic, and innovative occasion. We pray to Almighty Subhanahu wa Ta'ala to continue to guide us in all our affairs and ensure peace and prosperity in our nation. I would like to end my address as I began with a message from His Excellency, the President of Nigeria, Federal Republic of Nigeria. His Highness Alhaji Nasiru Ado Bayero, Emir of Bichi, Emir's Palace Bichi, Kano State. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Mr. President, and I'm delighted to congratulate you wholeheartedly on the occasion of your well-deserved installation as the Emir of Bichi, taking place today on Saturday, 21st of August, 2021. Your turbaning is a providential one at a time like this in the history of our country, when the prevailing social and political conditions have created an opportunity for emerging leaders to display their qualities and work earnestly for continued peace and security and unity of our country. Your father, my late friend, the Emir of Kano, Alhaji Ado Bayero, may his soul rest in peace, was a symbol of unity, not only within the kingdom, but also the entire northern Nigeria and the country as a whole. I remember with nostalgia and fondness the passion and the commitment he always exhibited in the pursuit of any cause he believed in, a distinctive character that almost cost him his life prematurely on the 19th of January 2013 because of his vociferous stand against the Boko Haram terrorists. I am confident that you will exhibit such leadership qualities and much more as you have demonstrated in the few months of your emirate. As I continue to pray for your success and look forward to your contribution in uplifting the people of Bichi Emirate in particular and Nigeria in general, I wish to assure you of my support for you to leave a sustainable legacy. Allah jaka zamanin sarki. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
The Chief of Staff to Mr. President Muhammad Buhari, GCFR, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, yana godiya ga dukkan waɗanda suka samu dama halartar wannan wuri, musamman sauran gwamnoni daga jihohi daban-daban da suka zo suka taya Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje yin wannan gagarumin aiki na ba da sanda ga mai martaba sarkin Bichi na biyu, kuma ya nuna cewar shi gida ya zo tun da sarkin Kano Alhaji Aminu Ado Bayero da sarkin Bichi Alhaji Nasiru Ado Bayero duk 'ya'ya ne a gare shi, kuma ya nuna cewar hakika kasancewar Bichi wato tana ɗaya daga cikin mashahuran wato ainihin harsashi na shugabanci, domin daga nan kamar sarakuna akalla 3 suka wato ainihin goge sosai sannan suka zama sarakunan Kano, daga kan sarki Alhaji Abdullahi Bayero da kansa